I've got some good news for you. I've got some good news for you. I think you've just got a prospective buyer. Well, he's dead. About maybe 6 weeks ago, my grandfather and my dad went into the hospital at the same day. I've already discussed my non in another story, in another vlog. I think I probably would have posted it up, but my dad went in for a mini stroke, and 2 weeks prior to Dad going to hospital, he had DVT in his leg, so we just all assumed it was the DVT. You know, maybe one of the clots had broken off from the DVT and gone into his gone into his brain. So they put him on blood thinners, and then they did a scan of his heart, and they found he had a hole in his heart. And they're like, oh, so this is why, you know, what's happening is that the blood clots are going from your DVT. They're bypassing your lungs through the hole in your heart and going into your brain. So the plan then was to close up the hole. He was going to have open heart surgery, close up the hole, and then following that stay on blood thinners. They do a scan of his chest area, which included, you know, the abdomen area, and they find some lumps on his pancreas and liver, and they did a biopsy. And when they did the biopsy, they took him off blood thinners. He was off blood thinners for 8 hours, and he had another bloody stroke. It was ridiculous. He just kept having these strokes, and the biopsy came back inconclusive. But the doctors were basically saying, like, we're pretty sure it's pancreatic cancer, and we're pretty sure it's stage 4. And I remember being in the hospital when the doctor told him, or the doctor told us, at a stage 4, and that we'll do the chemo, but it's not going to cure it. It might just give you some time. You've got anywhere between 2 weeks to 2 years, probably somewhere in the middle. So in my head I thought, okay, somewhere in the middle, I guess a year. Then after, you know, a few more days, my grandfather passed away, so I had to go down to Victoria, where my grandfather lives, for the funeral, you know, do his eulogy. After a week we came back up, and I stayed with Dad for a week looking after him, and then I had to go to America for 2 weeks. I had to go to Seattle for work, so I was in Seattle for 2 weeks for meetings. I was supposed to come back Sunday morning, and I think it might have been Thursday morning Australian time. My sister calls me up and says, you need to come back, he's gone really bad. The doctors have said he probably has a week left, much quicker than we thought it was going to be. So I had to change my flight, which cost a fuckload of money. Still don't know whether work's going to pay for it or not. They probably will. I've been told that they probably will. Just to, you know, the earliest flight I could get back would get me back here 24 hours earlier. So Saturday morning. And this has all been deja vu, because my dad's dad, he passed away of bowel cancer around when he was 60, and my dad's around 60. And my dad was around my age when that happened, and my dad was overseas when it happened, when he started to deteriorate. He caught an early flight back, and he didn't make it. And this has always been deja vu. I remember Dad was saying, shit, you know, this reminds me of when my dad was, you know, got cancer, and I said, oh, so you know what I'm going through then? He went, oh shit, yeah, I do. So this has all been a repeat. And so I was like, okay, I got on that flight thinking, you know, I'm catching an earlier flight, but I probably still won't make it. I caught the flight from the US and got off the plane, and my wife's there, and she's got this smile, but then as she approaches me, she just breaks down and starts crying, and I just say, I'm too late, aren't I? She says, we have to leave now. We went straight from the airport to the hospital, and I see my dad, and he's in palliative care. He looks really sick, and he's on a shitload of morphine because he was in pain. Put on a big smile and grab his hand and say, hey Dad, I'm back, you know, and spent the day with him. Then the doctor came in and said, oh, his ability to be conscious is not going to last much longer. If you've got anything left to say it. And so my stepmom was nice enough to clear the room out of the rest of the family and give me 5-10 minutes with Dad, and I said what I needed to say, told him that I love him and thanks for everything, and that, you know, isn't it great that we have no regrets? We had a really good relationship, Dad and I. We met up every week for dinner. Anyway, I said what I needed to say. He looked at me, closed his eyes, squeezed my hand, smiled, and then towards the end of what I was saying, he let go, and then he never opened his eyes again. Half an hour later, he started the death breathing. Anyone that's watched someone die in palliative care probably knows what I'm talking about. And it was just 4 hours of just saying, why can't I just get this fucking pillow and smother your fucking mouth, so put out your bloody misery. I don't know how anyone can watch that and not believe in euthanasia. I really can't. My stepmom, his wife, because they've remarried, had to leave the room. Sister and I and his mother, my grandmother, stayed in the room, and we held his hand until the very end. And the ending wasn't pleasant. Like, it wasn't a graceful finish. He didn't just stop breathing. I won't describe what happened, but it was a bit graphic. It didn't affect me so much at the time. I just knew it was a simple process, but it affected my sister quite a lot. She's still quite distressed about it now. But I just kept on reassuring her, you know, the important thing is that he wasn't alone, and that's what was really important for me. I really didn't want him to die alone. But I do remember just thinking, like, that was definitely the worst part of his life, and probably the worst part of everyone's life is when they die. And I'm like, who the fuck designed this? What the fuck? You know, who designed that the worst part of your life is your death, is the end? Is the end of a movie or the end of a story is the worst part of the book? What? Who designed that? And like, I wouldn't call myself atheist. I'm more of a agnostic, or, you know, I don't know what exists. I really don't. And I think there's probably a 10% of me or 15% of me that's still, you know, the Catholic Italian boy that goes, you know, thinks that maybe there's that fucking Christian God, and I just think, fucking how dare you design a fucking life cycle like that? And religious people, I mean no offense, it just pisses me off, and please don't say it's God's will. I hate it when people say that. It fucking pisses me off. It doesn't help. Just let me have my say. But I just thought that's fucked. You know, usually the middle part, you know, the middle part of a story, or the middle part, you know, you overcome something and then you have a happy ending, and that's not a fucking happy ending at all. Not at all. Especially with that end. I don't know. Anyway. Really makes me question everything. It's just fucked. I'm just angry. At the end of the day, look, he left behind good memories, and that's what I got to hold on to. I'm just sad that my grandkids, his grandkids, he'll never know them, and they will never know him. I find that very sad. It'll just be like my grandfather. He was just a picture in a photograph, a name, a story, and that's what my dad will be. And that's fucked. Anyway, life's fucked. See you guys.